Says so many people in this country hate women. Oh, geez. Even the guy at the party who pulls out a...
The political landscape in America is a minefield of passion, division, and spectacle, and few figures embody this chaos quite like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, or AOC as she's widely known. Her statement, "So many people in this country hate women," cuts through the noise like a siren, sparking reactions that range from fervent agreement to outright dismissal. Picture the scene: a crowded party, music humming, conversations buzzing, and someone strums a guitar trying to lighten the mood. Then AOC's words land like a conversational grenade, prompting an eye roll from the guitar guy who mutters, "Way to ruin the fun." It's a snapshot of a broader tension in the country, a divide between those who see her as a truth teller and those who view her as a performer chasing clout over substance. The applause that follows her statement in some circles underscores her appeal, but it also fuels the skepticism of critics like Bill Maher, who's been sounding alarms about her rise as a potential Democratic frontrunner for 2028. Maher's warnings aren't new. He's been here before, raising red flags in 2024 when the Democratic National Committee tried to position Kamala Harris as the party's savior, only to watch that strategy implode. The parallels are striking: a shiny new star, hyped up by big crowds and media buzz, only to falter under scrutiny. Now, with AOC's name floating as a possible Harris replacement, Maher is back, torch in hand, pointing out the cracks in the Democrats' latest darling. He's not just nitpicking, he's pleading with the party to avoid repeating its mistakes. The big crowds flocking to AOC and Bernie Sanders at rallies across the country, think festival vibes, maybe even Coachella, might look impressive, but Maher argues they're a mirage. Big crowds at a rally don't translate to votes on Election Day. It's a lesson the Democrats seem doomed to relearn, chasing the shiny object of charisma while ignoring the nuts and bolts of electability. Take Cory Booker, for instance, a senator from New Jersey, known for his marathon speeches and earnest demeanor. He's another figure who generates buzz but struggles to close the deal. Maher likes him, respects his hustle, but sees the same pattern: the Democratic obsession with performance over competence. It's not about who can draw a crowd at a music festival or deliver a viral soundbite. It's about who can show up when the ballots are counted. And right now, AOC's trajectory is giving Maher and others plenty of reasons to worry. Her recent media appearances have been a string of missteps, economic takes that don't add up, interviews that leave even her supporters scratching their heads. Instead of stepping into the spotlight with clarity and vision, she's stumbling, setting her own reputation ablaze with every awkward moment. AOC's policy rants, often delivered with fiery conviction, tend to stir more confusion than confidence. Her supporters see her as a bold voice for change, but to skeptics, her speeches are a whirlwind of buzzwords with little substance. Voters aren't walking away inspired. They're left wondering what the actual plan is. If the Democrats are banking on her as their 2028 frontrunner, they're walking a dangerous path. Maher sees it clearly. Strip away the theatrics, the loud speeches, the TikTok showboating, the dramatic outbursts, and what's left? Not much. AOC's brand thrives on social media, where trending is mistaken for leading, but governing a country requires more than viral moments. It demands depth, strategy, and a vision that resonates beyond the echo chamber. Her claim that unemployment is low because everyone has two jobs is a case in point. It's a catchy line meant to highlight economic struggles, but it oversimplifies a complex issue. Yes, many Americans work multiple jobs to make ends meet, but painting that as the sole reason for low unemployment dismisses the broader economic context. Capitalism, for all its flaws, has lifted more people out of poverty than any other system in history, a fact AOC often sidesteps in her critiques. Her rhetoric leans heavily on moral outrage, but when pressed for solutions, she often falls back on vague ideals or pivots to unrelated issues, like the humanitarian crisis in Palestine. It's a pattern that frustrates voters looking for concrete answers. Maher's critique cuts to the core. AOC confuses yelling for leadership and passion for strategy. It's performance art, not policy. The Democrats' broader problem, as Maher sees it, is their obsession with branding over substance. The party's been bleeding support in Middle America, where voters care about jobs, safety, and stability, not hashtags or identity politics. Biden's presidency limping to its end, left behind a trail of confusion and unfulfilled promises. Kamala Harris's brief moment in the spotlight only deepened the mess, her speeches so muddled they alienated more than they inspired. Now AOC, far from offering a fresh start, is doubling down on the same progressive playbook that's been losing ground. Her rhetoric, heavy on idealism but light on pragmatism, doesn't resonate with the working-class voters Democrats need to win back. Consider the scene at an AOC Bernie Sanders rally in Idaho last month. A Palestinian flag was draped over an American one, and the crowd roared in approval. It was a symbolic moment, but a troubling one for Democrats. Instead of someone on stage redirecting the energy, reminding the crowd that the American flag represents freedoms not found in many parts of the world, the moment was left to fester. It's a microcosm of a larger issue. A growing segment of the progressive base, especially younger voters, seems to view America with disdain. Polls show less than 1 in 4 Democrats under 30 are proud to be American, with 54% saying they're embarrassed by their country. It's a sentiment that feels like teenage rebellion, America as the embarrassing parent rather than a nation of opportunity. Maher's point is blunt. If you hate half the people in this country and much of what it stands for, can you really claim to love it? This anti-American undercurrent, amplified on platforms like X, is a digital bonfire of self-loathing. Young liberals, often led by voices like AOC, tear into the country as if it's a dystopian nightmare, ignoring the freedoms and opportunities that make their critiques possible. Scroll through X for 5 seconds and you'll see it. Posts mocking the flag, rewriting history, dismissing the values that built the nation. It's not just criticism, it's a rejection of the very foundation that grants them the right to speak. Having traveled and seen how other countries operate, the contrast is stark. Most nations don't offer the liberty, prosperity, or rights Americans take for granted. Trashing your own home isn't brave or revolutionary, it's entitled and short-sighted. AOC's rhetoric often leans into this narrative, painting America as irredeemably flawed. Her defenders argue she's calling out real injustices, but her approach, broad, performative, and often lacking nuance, alienates as much as it inspires. Take her background, which she's spun into a gritty, working-class origin story. The bartender from the Bronx narrative is compelling, but it's also carefully curated. AOC, born Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, not Sandy Ocasio, as some critics have claimed, grew up in a comfortable, upper-middle-class suburb, not the hardscrabble streets she often implies. Her bartending days, while real, are hardly unique. Millions of young Americans work service jobs while pursuing their goals. It's not a rags to riches tale. It's a common experience she's marketed as a badge of authenticity. The disconnect between her image and reality is starting to show, and voters are noticing. Her attacks on capitalism are another flashpoint. She and other progressives, like Congressman Jamal Bowman, frame it as an oppressive force, with Bowman going so far as to call it slavery by another name. But capitalism, for all its imperfections, has driven unprecedented prosperity. Look at history. Venezuela, once a wealthy nation, collapsed under socialist policies. Cuba and the Soviet Union faced similar fates, their economies strangled by top-down control. Meanwhile, America's free market, flawed as it is, rewards innovation and ambition, offering a shot at a better life. Immigrants, who risk everything to come here, understand this. They're not fleeing to America for socialism or identity politics. They're chasing the promise of freedom and opportunity. AOC's rhetoric, by contrast, often dismisses this reality, focusing on grievances over solutions. The irony is glaring when AOC calls out systemic hatred in a country where women have more freedom than almost anywhere else. American women can vote, run businesses, hold office, and speak freely, rights that remain out of reach in many parts of the world. Yet AOC frames America as a hotbed of misogyny, ignoring the progress that's been made. Disagreeing with her brand of progressive ideology isn't hatred. It's debate, a cornerstone of the very freedoms she benefits from. Her supporters might see her as a champion, but to critics, she's yelling at a system that gave her the platform to yell.